You're listening to MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. This week we got Jake Ellenberger on the other end of the line. Jake's getting ready to fight Robbie Lawler, come up here at UFC 173. A battle, of course, May 24th at the MGM Grand Arena. Jake, how are we doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
You know, I'm actually up in West Hollywood right now, and it's hot as hell, a lot hotter than even in Vegas. And I'm wondering, for you, because you're further down south, right? You're down in Orange County.
Yeah. Yep.
Is the fire from San Diego affecting you at all? Is the wind blowing the smoke up your way?
A little bit. Yeah, I can definitely tell. But it hasn't affected us too much. It's hotter than shit out right now, but
Have you
not a big change.
have you noticed anything cardiovascular wise? Has the smoke bothered you at all? 'Cause I know a couple of guys down actually in San Diego are complaining that it's tough for them to train right now because the smoke is so bad and the soot is so bad that it's kind of affecting how they're breathing. Has it affected you yet?
No. Yeah, I can imagine it does. It hasn't affected us up here. It is not that bad. I mean, you can see a little bit, but not to the point where it's affecting breathing now.
Well, I talked to Mark Munoz the other day about his training partners as he's getting ready for Garden Musasi, and he mentioned you as one of the guys he's been wrestling quite a bit with. He said that he likes to push himself in positions where it doesn't bother him as much having a lot of wrestlers around. Are you still in a position when you train that you like to have a lot of other wrestlers around you when you compete and when you train in your training camps?
Yes, I mean, typically it's good just because most wrestlers are a lot mentally stronger than some of the other guys. But I would say more for drilling and then having consistent training partners. Yeah, I like the wrestlers, but to be honest, most of the training partners for this fight has been all mostly Muay Thai and boxers.
And when you say wrestlers are more mentally tough than most of the guys, I haven't seen any guy that's been tougher than a wrestler when it comes to training. And it might be biased because I come from a wrestling
Yeah,
background as well, but day in and day out, a guy's going to show up every day, broken fingers, sore, hurt, back hurting, neck hurting. Oh,
sure.
it's 4 o'clock. Jake needs me. Here I am. It's always going to be that wrestler type.
Absolutely, that's the difference. Is just wrestlers they're used to that grind and they don't make excuses. At the end of the day, they have the work ethic and the reputation. That follows. So it's I agree though. They're consistent. They're the most consistent training partners, and they're reliable and they'll go hard. So I do I can definitely agree with you there.
No, you said for this training camp, those were mainly Muay Thai and boxing guys, and you have a real aggressive style. Technically, your partners might be better than you in boxing and Muay Thai, but you tend to wear guys
Uh,
down by just constantly being in their face and constantly beating on them. Are your training partners showing up for you still every day as you get ready for Robbie Lawler?
yeah, we actually hired a few sparring partners that are southpaws that are actually um, really similar styles of Robbie just more to get that look and the action, the action reaction. There's always just be more comfortable with that. And then for me, it's been good. I've been sparring with guys that are faster than me, that are hitters too. So it's been a hell of a last couple months, but definitely as prepared as I'm going to be.
How long did it take you? Because I know the beginning of every training camp, no matter how much you train, the beginning of every training camp kind of sucks because you're beat up, you're bruised, especially with the style of fighter you have to prepare for. You're always getting hit, you're always getting banged
Uh,
up. How long did it take you to get used to that kind of, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit in the head again, kind of scenario every day that you come into practice?
well, those certain days, especially sparring days. I mean, you just gotta mentally prepare yourself for it. So, if we're sparring 2 days a week or even one day a week, that one day a week is gonna be intense and you're gonna be as close to a fight as you're gonna get training. But this level you just gotta be prepared for that. I mean, there's really no secret. It's just that that hard work and then there's no substitute for hard work really. So it's really much more just mentally preparing yourself going into the week.
Now, you said a moment ago that you're paid training partners to come in. Is this something you do now? Every training camp is you pay guys to come in and make sure so that they're always there whenever you need them?
Yeah, sometimes this is pretty new to me. There's a couple of boxers and a Muay Thai guy that have been consistent sparring partners for myself, uh, and they're good. They're really like they're professional. They compete professionally in boxing, and it's they're technical and it's good. It's creating more, for me to be able to see things, sharpen my defense, be more aware, and being more technical overall. So it's good because these guys, like I said, they're faster and they're hitters. They got speed and power, and they're a lot faster than Robbie. So really, just making those, like I said, those sparring days, you got to be prepared to fight, and it's definitely gonna help. When I get my hand raised.
Do you try to pay them back in the middle of the round sometimes? Do you feel like you're getting hit too much and just shoot a double leg just to let them know who the boss is?
Yeah, I do off balance guys a lot, and I'll fall on their face or their knees or hands and knees. But I won't shoot. Because we'll actually do MMA sparring, but it'll be more with there's more with MMA guys. But yeah, a lot of those guys will off balance a lot and just move. Because they pressure well, and they get to ropes. You gotta move and off balance, and I'll do that off balance quite a bit. But I try not to shoot. It's tough not to when you get angry.
Especially you get caught with two jabs in a row. You're like, screw this, give me a leg. So I totally understand that.
I know.
Speaking of having fun during practice, how do you keep it fun during training camp? Like, what do you do after practice or before practice to kind of keep it light so that you're not always mentally drained about the next practice coming up or the fight coming up?
Sure, it's all about who you're around too. I mean, I really enjoy a lot of the people that I train with. It's fun. We don't take it too seriously because so much of what we do already is serious, and it's pretty easy to keep it light. But when I'm not in the gym, I'm in the water or I'm out on the beach or on the trail. So something that's definitely more enjoyable.
Do you have a training partner that you train with every day, but are you also like in your off time when you're hanging out, it's also one of the guys you hang out with? Or do you try to keep, I would always, whenever I was out hanging out on my own, I didn't want to talk fights. I don't want to think about fights. I just want to be away from the whole game. So I didn't hang out with anybody else that I trained with. But I know some guys do, like the Diaz brothers,
Yeah.
obviously Jake Shield and Gilbert Melendez. They all hang out together all the time, and they all train together. So do you which way do you go?
Yeah, I got a few friends, that will hang out a lot, but I'm like you though. When I'm not in the gym, it's time to turn the switch off and not think about it. It really, actually, one of the guys that I've worked with for a number of years, he's a sports psychologist, and he talks about how important that is really to shut the switch off because when you're just thinking 24 hours about slipping and fighting and this and that, and it really is taxing. It's draining mentally, and that's really, physically you're going to be drained regardless. But that's where being able to turn that switch on and off, it's really been a huge help for me. When you get in the gym, it's time to work, and then when you leave it, turn the switch off and get back to enjoy life. So it's really, I think it's what's really helped keep longevity in the fight career.
Now, it sounds like you're in your car right now as we're doing this interview. Are you driving right now?
I am.
And where are you driving?
I am.
Where are you driving to, and where are you coming from?
I was actually just at a pool. I was just hanging out with a friend, and then right now I'm going to meet with Ken Baum, actually a sports psychologist that I work with out here. We're going to do a mental.
You're on your way to a session. You're on your way to one of your mental strength training sessions.
Yes. We're going to actually go through the whole fight. I'll be there for about an hour. So.
Wow. How long have you been with Ken? Like how many fighting camps have you been with Ken?
This is the first fight I've been with him for about 4 months now, 4 or 5 months, and I've probably really been through the fight more times mentally than I have physically, and done more training mentally than I have physically as well. So it's it's quite interesting. But I mean, he's one of the most successful. He's worked with so many different athletes, and I really wasn't a believer until I sat down and met with him for about 15 minutes, and I mean, it's all about, it's all about why you do what you do, what motivates you, what makes people tick, and that's really, yeah. And I studied psychology in college when I was going to Nebraska, Omaha, and it's always fascinated me. So the more I kind of could be in tune with visualizing and playing the fight and reacting and being more aware, it's been able to help me a lot. But yeah, I've had a lot of I've really enjoyed working with Ken the last 4 months.
Wow, that's huge. I didn't realize that it's just been a short period of time. I thought for sure it's been a long time, but because I've noticed a difference in you in a couple of conversations we've had and a couple of text messages that we've sent back and forth. Before, you used to be very stoic and kind of hardlined, and like the other day, I asked you, hey, do you want to do an interview? And you're like, no. I was like, what? And so I was like, can I ask you why? And like, it's the first time you've actually joked with me. Like, you never joke around. You're kind of always that hardline guy, and you were pulling, and you pranked me, and you got me good because I was like, holy crap, what'd I do? Like, all of a sudden, like, Jake pissed at me. There's a problem, so let me call him. And you're like, no, I'm kidding. Of course I want to do it. So it's obviously it's working because mentally now at this late stage of training camp, you're still in a great place mentally. Physically, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you okay physically too? I know there's those little, you get those little bang ups, those little twerks from being in training camp. Do you have just as many as normal, or you have a little bit less than you have in the past?
To be honest, it's a little bit less. I haven't overtrained as much either, but yeah, it's been good. It's been a good training cycle, and you got the normal bumps and bruises here and there, but nothing serious though. So it's been quite refreshing.
All right, last couple of questions before I let you out of here, and thanks for coming on here with MMA Oddsbreaker. I appreciate it, Jake, because I know you're busy.
I got it.
On your way into another training session right now. This time, just mental training, which is the hardest part of the day, to be honest with you. Besides Robbie Lawler's striking, what is the other thing that he is the best at? Like, what does he bring to the table besides just striking? I've
actually known Robbie since before I started fighting, and he's just mentally a strong person. Regardless of skills, he just takes skills completely out of the equation. He's a very mentally tough guy, and it's hard to deal with for anybody. You could be an unskilled fighter and be extremely mentally tough, and I mean you obviously know in the sport of wrestling too that plays a big factor in in winning matches. But he's athletic and he's a gamer, but he's what's always stuck out to me is he's mentally strong. He's going to be there the whole fight. So unless you finish him, he's going to be there. So, and he showed that against Johnny Hendricks too. They're both they're both not new to competing. So both extremely mentally tough guys, and I know that's why that's why we're making this match. That's why UFC made this match. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good fight. I don't think that no matter what happens, whether it goes out early or it goes off all the way to the end, that this is going to be a great fight. It's both guys are very aggressive. Both guys are swinging, but I believe that your ability to take Robbie down is going to be the biggest difference in this fight. If you're able to take him down, it'll be a lot easier fight for you than if you're not able to take him down. If you're not able to take him down, it's going to be, you can still win, but it's going to be a longer night of how to get to that victory.
Sure.
So I definitely think wrestling once again, but Robbie's defense to wrestling is probably some of the best I've seen in MMA. Like, he really knows how to stop a guy from taking him down, and to me, that's the second best attribute.
Wrestling. He's trained a lot of wrestlers in the past too. So we've been, I've definitely. I've actually wrestled with him before. It's kind of funny, but I know it's his gym quite a few years ago. But he is no doubt. He's pretty safe. There's no really he's solid everywhere. So.
All right, last question before I let you out of here. The co-main event is Dan Henderson and Daniel Cormier, two wrestlers banging out, old school versus new school. Do you have a prediction on that fight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to ever count Dan Henderson out of a fight. I mean, two of my favorite fighters, to be honest. And Dan is what he's accomplished, in the sport really kind of speaks for itself. But Cormier, man, I think he's going to be the one to beat John Jones. That's just my opinion. he is an extremely tough fight, phenomenal wrestler, Olympian, and he just keeps getting better. I think it's definitely a tough matchup for Dan, and I'll never count Dan out of a fight. But it's going to be hard not to lean towards Cormier in this fight. That's who I'm kind of leaning towards. But
yeah,
as you've seen in the past, Dan's won a lot of fights where he's came back and landed. He is really the one guy in the sport that just needs to land a punch and then the fight's over. So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the gut's going with Cormier, but
yep. I agree.
Now it is unpredictable. It is.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Jake Ellenberger. He's getting ready to fight Robbie Lawler coming up here on UFC 173, Barab versus Dillashaw. May 24th, of course, can be seen on pay-per-view. Great, Jake, having you on here again. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your last training session of the day. And we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it, man.